To make a long story short, the West has bred in a way to spread mental illness that doesn't allow people to be righteous. And then they accuse people who are righteous of having mental illness. And on record, that includes whistleblowers who are seen to be doing the right thing. There's no way around it. Mental health is run by sickos who are basically followers of Saturn that believe in role reversal. Key to this also is the Capitoline triad, the archaic triad, the old Capitoline triad. And also Mars, who is the father of Romulus and Remus, by rhea, Silvia, and also of Aeneas, by Venus. Aeneas is a Trojan refugee who was said to have founded Rome before Romulus and Remus, quote-unquote, officially founded Rome, so to speak. Venus is also called the morning star. So when you take a Western perspective of the Bible, certainly you miss its true message, because the morning star is truly the sun and not the planet Venus. And only the Bible, the light in the Bible can only be revealed by someone such as myself, and I am the last one, the last pharaoh. Venus, the morning star, the Roman goddess of love, beauty, desire, sex, fertility, prosperity, and victory. The sun of the morning. Mother of the Roman people. Symbols are the rose, the common myrtle, her consorts are Mars and Vulcan. Children, Cupid, Aeneas. The Greek equivalent to Venus is Aphrodite. This has everything to do with the Trojan War and the direction the Romans went with Greco-Roman culture. Venus embodies enticement, seduction, persuasive female charm, pussy power, and the myrtle is also said to be symbolize the vagina, specifically the clitoris. And the Latin noun means sexual love. So Venus is a Latin noun that means sexual love and sexual desire, connected to venerare, venereal disease, venerate also come from this word. To honor, to try to please. And venia, grace, favor. Possible common root is venes or unis, meaning friend. And of course, a friend in Western culture, a male friend, is basically a dick on hold. Who do you think women quite often have affairs with and end up marrying? And we see many examples of this. They quite often say that they expect their mates to start off being their friend. And because of this, all women are banned from heaven, even if they attempt to come into the divine order. They've had their chances. It ends today. I've seen way more than enough to see that their treachery is complete and humanity is pretty much damned to hell. And men, their last chance to enter is to die with honor next to Pharaoh and go out in a blaze of glory with him. And I do not believe that they will do this. And I'm not saying that I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory per se. That remains to be seen. When or yun, to strike for, wish for, desire, love. Venus, Latin venum, poison, in the sense of a charm, magic, filter, right? P-H-I-L-T-R-E. So the inability to filter things out, the filters themselves being made in a way that allows for the poisoning, and perhaps even including a degree of poison in the filter. Okay, so poison, psych meds, alcohol poisoning, etc., and how they relate to people being taken advantage of in more than one way. They're more dependent on society and people who are sexually immoral by default because they have conformed to Western culture, which is based on sexual immorality, fake martial arts, and other despicable things that we'll more than cover later. Okay. The unofficial illicit manipulation of divine forces through magic, said to contrast with Venus, but certainly they are part of Western culture in general. The luckiest roll in the dice is known as Venus, and this goes back to prostitution and gambling in Vegas. Venus, C-Lo-A-C-N-A. Venus Cloacina. Okay, one of her forms, her epithets. Myrtle was used in the purification rites of Cloacina, the Etruscan Roman goddess of Rome's main sewer. Air, the sewer, right? The nasty air of the sewer system the system, the cistern of Rome, the sewer system based on sexual immorality with Venus dominating Mars. We'll get to that shortly. The rose cross, Venus. Remember, the rose and the myrtle were her symbols. I believe I covered this earlier. Yes, the rose and the common myrtle. The commoner, right? The common myrtle. The female pudendum, particularly the clitoris, was known as myrtos or myrtle. Roman generals given an ovation, a lesser form of Roman triumph, wore a myrtle crown, perhaps to purify them and their armies of blood guilt, according to the article I read, more likely to highlight the connection between rape, sex, and war. That's something I put. The first known temple to Venus was vowed to Venus obsequens, Obi C queens, or Obi seek you on, by Fabius Gergis in the heat of battle against the Samnites, dedicated in 295 BC at a site near Aventine Hell and funded by fines imposed on Roman women for sexual misdemeanors. Obviously, this is very significant. There's many ways you can interpret this. One is that the women are being made to pay by the men lusting in war and having sex in war, and women coming out of line, getting out of pocket. They're basically put back in line. So women may have been revered, but make no mistake, society, on record at least, officially at least, was ruled by men. Okay, Jupiter as the head of Capitoline Triad, Mars, and so on. So even though Mars is said to be dominated by Venus when he's with her, when he's not with her, he's having other consorts and so on. And he's a rapist deity as well. He's said to have raped Rhea to father Romulus and Remus. So Venus Heliopolitana, Venus of Heliopolis, Syriaca, worshipped at Baalbek, a form of Ashtart, who formed a third of the Heliopolitan triad, Jupiter's Baal, consorts Mercury's mother. So Jupiter has Jupiter Amen and Jupiter as Baal. Jupiter can simply be seen as Amen, Hades, hides, hidden, the hidden one, and Jupiter Baal. He's Baal, the bull that covers or hides the light. Thus, Amen, usurping Ra, an aspect, a trait of those who follow the devil. And we'll get into how demons and the netters are a part of this. And the netters, and this is part of why the occult doesn't really venerate, they don't elevate Horus in his pure form or Ra in his pure form, because they worship the netters, which are called the demons by the scholars, and Latin is the language of scholars, and so on and so forth. Okay, so Mars, also it goes back to the mares and their relation to the elves and myth and the people that the elves are based on, the mare, the nightmare, this evil deity. Okay, spear and shield iconography, statue in the form of Nerva, 2nd century AD. Okay, remember Minerva, right? Nerve, the nerve of the the nerve of the bull. How far they've gone with their sexual immorality. It is despicable. I want nothing to do with Western culture. On record, Western culture is satanic. You do your research, Hell and Hall, you connect them, and we'll get to that later. On record, it is evil, and there's no excuse for it. This goes back to Valhalla, and Hell was also a deity, not just a place. Odin himself was said to have gone to Hell and visited Hell, at least on a horse. Okay. So Mars' children, Romulus and Remus, parents Jupiter and Juno, the god of war and an agricultural guardian. Festivals in March, the month named after him, and October start for the military season. His wife, Rhea, Silvia, children Romulus and Remus. With Venus, her son was Aeneas, the Trojan refugee who founded Rome. Remember the Trojan War and the despicable reason it was fought. Okay? And that goes back to Helen of Troy, right? Hell in, hell on. Okay? Of course, heaven, right, is also a play on words. It basically refers to hell. Saturn is the deity of role reversal. When you look at this thing, all this stuff is unnecessary mystery garbage. All you need is Pharaoh in the true spirit of righteousness to explain why you should do the right thing. He has no reason to lie. He is the martial artist Pharaoh who spars it, and wins. And I'm the last Pharaoh. The sun gate closes after me. I promise you. I swear on Ra, the sun gate closes after my death, and you all go to hell. God, Ra despises those who pretend to be religious. He despises atheists. He despises agnostic. Anytime you refer to Ra legion or religion, God, Ra wants you to weep, lament, mourn, show signs of anguish, despair, misery.